Welcome to Horsing Around with Bonnie and Naomi podcast.
A podcast about our adventures exploring abandoned, haunted, and interesting places with your hosts,
Bonnie and
Naomi. Welcome to this week's episode of Horsing Around with Bonnie and Naomi. This is episode number 9. Yay. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Mothman. Okay, sorry. That's probably getting old. Bonnie doesn't want to talk about the Mothman, even though I do, because she's mean, and she doesn't like him. In this episode, we are going to talk about the Moonville Tunnel and the Haydenville Tunnels. Before we get to some of the history on the Moonville Tunnel and the Haydenville Tunnel, we would like to say thank you to the ones who have liked, followed, shared, subscribed, and downloaded our episodes. If you haven't, please do so. It is very helpful. And also, as a reminder, please check out our YouTube channels and subscribe to them, Exploring with Bonnie and Naomi's Adventures. And now for some history on the tunnels. Take it away, dear sister.
Alright, so the Moonville Tunnel is primarily called that because there was a town called Moonville that was in this valley, and
the tunnel goes through it.
And the tunnel gets you to that town. The only way to get into that town is to go through this tunnel. And this Moonville was a coal mining town, and it was a boom town. It's the reason it was there is because of the coal mining. And that was in the mid-1800s. And it says there was never more than 100 people living in the community at one time, but we found another website that says at the peak of the Moonville, the town, there was over 100 people living there, including miners and their family. So, 100, a little more than 100, who knows exactly about that.
Probably like 101.
So, this is in the Hope State Park, Lake Hope State Park, I think it is, down in southern Ohio. And the town was thought to be named after the man who owned the general store of town. And then in 1856, Marietta and Cincinnati Railroad built the tunnel with the town being far from it. And I don't know how the town is that far from the tunnel, considering that it was built right to town.
Maybe they meant like 2 miles.
But if you ever go to Moonville, when you come out the other side of the tunnel where the Moonville town was, like on both sides of the railroad where the railroad would have been, it's kind of like a valley. Like if it flooded, it would have been flooded out. So I'm not sure that people would have built houses there, but maybe up on the hill. So maybe that's what they meant by not, far from the town. I'm not sure exactly what they meant, since I didn't see any remnants of the town when we were there.
Yeah, we didn't see any remnants either.
And then it said by 1920, 6 people had died on the bridge or in the tunnel at Moonville. And the last death was of a 10-year-old girl in 1986. So, supposedly, the last family left Moonville in 1847, and by the 1960s, all the buildings were completely gone. Which, I don't know, since we weren't around then, so I can't tell you. I just know that there's none there now. It's a very difficult place to get to. Like, you meander around this curvy road along this creek and you think you're never going to find this tunnel. Like, it is the most difficult thing to find, and you can't GPS coordinates while you're there because you're in this valley and there's no GPS. You have to have your path, how to find it, and or the other tunnels that are there, because you're just not getting internet connection. So it's impossible to get to, pretty much, like almost impossible. So I don't know why the railroad would make it go through there, with the exception of the coal mining situation. The legends of the tunnel are that 4 ghosts haunt this tunnel. The first of these are the engineer who died in a head-on collision with another train. Now, this is pretty much what the internet said. The brakeman, believed to be a drunken man who actually worked on the train as a brakeman. That kind of seems like an oxymoron to me. If they're calling him a brakeman, obviously he was a brakeman for the train. But it says that he fell off the train and onto the tracks, and the train basically ran him over. So he died a horrible death. Then the third one is a bully believed to be David Keaton, a resident of Moonville. It is also believed that he was a drunk who got into a bar fight, and while walking home, he got jumped and pushed over the side, where he landed on the tracks and obviously got hit by a train. And he is said to throw pebbles at the people who go in the tunnel. So, I guess he stands above the tunnel and throws pebbles at people who walk through the tunnel. Though I didn't experience any of those 3 ghosts while we were there. At least not to my knowledge. And the fourth one is an elderly lady who died while walking home from the saloon late at night. And I guess you're supposed to smell a lavender scent, which was the perfume that she used back then. And I didn't smell any lavender cologne either, so I did not see any of, and did not feel any of these ghostly apparitions or see anything.
And the moral of this history lesson is, don't be walking on the railroad tracks when you're drinking.
That would be, because it almost sounds like every one of these, well, with the exception of the conductor that was drinking.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the lady was, but obviously if she was at the saloon, chances are she was drinking or not paying attention to what she was doing.
Apparently a lot of people in Moonville were alcoholics. Or at least it kind of seems like that. I mean...
Well, I guess what my question would be for the people who did this research or whatever, a more in-depth thing, is did these people who are walking down the tracks, were they going to Moonville from a place on the other side of the tunnel? Was there a town on the other side of the tunnel where they could go and get alcohol from? Or did they go to Moonville, drink at this bar there, and then walk through the tunnel to go home outside the tunnel, on the other side of the tunnel?
Moonville took you from one town to another town, so... Yeah. Did Moonville go to Mineral?
Yeah, but the Moonville Rail Trail goes from there to Mineral.
Yeah.
But if you're going to get killed in the Moonville tunnel after you leave Moonville, that's the opposite way from Mineral.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So you're not walking from Moonville to Mineral, and if you did, you would be killed in the Kings Hollow.
Okay, I have a theory on this. They were too drunk to know which way to turn to get to the town of Moonville. So they were going the wrong way into the tunnel, and boom. So
if that's just a question. So I'm going to guess that if they didn't live in Moonville itself, they lived on a farm on the other side of the hill, the tunnel would take them to.
There could have been something on the other side of the tunnel. Because there's a cemetery. Isn't there a cemetery on the side where we parked?
Yes, it's on the opposite side from where Moonville would be, yes.
So that could have been technically part of the town of Moonville, too. So maybe, just maybe, there was something back that way, too. Or, like, maybe they lived in the country.
There is a cemetery up on the hill somewhere there, close to the tunnel, that is also said to be haunted. We did not find it yet. We didn't look for it.
We need to find that, because I didn't even know there was a cemetery at the time we went.
I would just like to go back and see the tunnel again and take more pictures, better pictures.
Okay. So, how did you hear about the Moonville Tunnel?
I think I heard about it from the YouTubers who've been there.
That's where I heard about it from.
Because I don't remember hearing about it before I started watching YouTubers, explorers, urbexers.
There are a ton of videos about Moonville. It's a popular urbex location.
It's part of the rail trail, which means you can ride. I think you can bike on it. Some of it you can walk it, hike it. So it is accessible to like everybody, and it goes for miles.
Yeah, this isn't someplace that is it's kind of like abandoned because it's an abandoned tunnel. But this isn't a place where you could get in trouble for trespassing or anything like that because it's just open to people.
They actually have a parking space there where you can park off the side of the road. And
was it easy to find / access?
Not really. Not unless you've done your homework really well. You're not just going to be like one day decide, I want to go to Moonville and start driving down the road and look for Moonville. Because when you're driving down the main highway out of the Hope Forest, there are signs that said Moonville Rail Trail or something, but that doesn't take you to where Moonville is. You have to go down this other side road, and it's a good 2 miles maybe or more going meandering back through this this twisty turny road till you actually get to where the tunnel is.
Once you get to the parking lot, the tunnel is very easy to get to. It's just a nice, smooth
you
trail.
can definitely see it.
Yeah, it's a nice, smooth, wide trail walking back. So it's easy to access once you find the parking lot. Finding the parking lot is a challenge.
Yes, that is true. The parking lot is a challenge.
What was your first impression when you saw Moonville?
I was kind of amazed that it's so old and it's still there. Like, it's not caved in, still accessible, I guess. Not on private property, I don't know. It was amazing.
My first thought was like, holy crap, this is so cool. Because, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Moonville Tunnel?
Oh my god, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and I'm gonna get eaten by a Bigfoot.
I don't really know what the first thing to come is. Cool big trail, a cool big tunnel. Pretty much.
You're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's no houses really close by.
There is nothing.
There's no town, no gas station, no nothing close by.
How would you describe the tunnel?
Oh my. It wasn't wet like the King's Hollow was. There was no standing water. It was very well. It's very well preserved. I know that it is not a. It's not a wooden tunnel. Like, it's not made of wooden beams. It's actually made of the rock, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not. Yeah, it's actually made of rock. So it's not like it's gonna, like the wood's gonna decay and fall in that way. It's gonna just have to decay over time. However, rock, with the cold and heat and, deteriorating it, making it decay that way.
I thought it was super cool, because when you first walk up to it, across the top it says Moonville, and I think that's carved into the bricks or whatever that make it or somehow. But that looks really cool. It says Moonville at the top, and just this big, awesome tunnel. And like the top of it is like so high up, and then there's like trees on top of it. And it's a pretty long tunnel.
It's kind of intimidating looking, not scary intimidating or anything. It's just like, it's big, but it also, like, you're wondering, like, I'm assuming only one train went through there, because I can't imagine 2 trains going through that tunnel.
Oh yeah, that's not very wide.
So, you know, again, at some point they're going to have a turnaround or something or whatever to come backwards, because there's, I don't know. There can't be, like, 2 train tracks going through that tunnel. It's just not wide enough.
Yeah, it's an impressive looking tunnel. It's really neat to walk through it.
And that's the one thing, the rails aren't there anymore, so you don't have to worry about tripping over old railroad ties.
Yeah, it's just like either crushed limestone type stuff or just dirt, pretty much. I mean, there may be like rocks or whatever, but it's like a nice smooth path. Okay, so Moonville is listed as one of the creepiest places in Ohio. Did you think it was creepy?
No, I did not. I didn't, like I said, talking about the ghosts, I didn't feel anything, I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything, and maybe I really wasn't paying attention. I was just kind of excited about being there, but I did not think it was creepy, with the exception of being in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I think it's, even though it's supposed to be haunted, I think because, like, this one you can see straight through. Well, we went in, like, kind of the winter time, and you could see straight through. It was plenty lit in there. It wasn't like a dark tunnel. Like, it's tall enough and wide enough that there's plenty of light, even though it's a long tunnel. So it wasn't scary at all. It was just really cool not even being inside it. It wasn't scary.
Okay, so I'm just reading this thing on the internet about the tunnel, so I'm going to read what it says. About the brakeman. Alright, so we know that he fell and got decapitated or run over by the train, but it says that when it is ghost, it haunts it, and he frantically swings his lantern back and forth, and they had to stall and signal at Moonville in 1981 because so many trains had to go into emergency braking because they saw the light swinging and they thought somebody was on the train tracks.
Cool.
So they were informed not to pay any attention to a light swinging in the tunnel when they were on the train driving through afterwards. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I didn't see any light swinging, but I wasn't there at night either, so...
So my next question was, did you experience anything at Moonville?
Nope.
See, now, I heard something, because you were behind me and Katie, and I was looking down at my phone, playing with my phone, and we were walking through, and Katie was ahead of me, and I was like, I heard of tires on the gravel, and I was like, oh, somebody's coming. Somebody else is coming and parking. I'm going to be walking through the tunnel. And then when we got to the other side, I'm like, where's the other car? Our car is the only car there. So, I don't know. We didn't get anything on video or anything, but I heard car. I heard a car. But there was no car.
I don't know. I didn't hear it, so I'm not...
I think I'm the only one that heard it. I don't think Katie even heard it. And you guys were too far behind us, so you guys didn't hear it.
I was meandering slowly through the tunnel, taking my time.
Yeah. Name one thing about Moonville that was memorable.
I think the overall size. Like what it had to take to construct that in the hillside.
I think the most memorable thing for me was when you're walking up on the right and the left side of it, it almost looked like there were like stairs going up. You know, you remember? It looked like kind of like stairs, but obviously it wasn't stairs. I don't think didn't try to go up there. I tried to go up the trail to the right of it a little ways, but I didn't go too far up there. Because there is a path to the right where you could go up, or no, yeah, to the right where you could go up, and probably across the top, but I didn't go up all the way.
I am not a mountain goat. I am not going up a hill.
Was Moonville disappointing in any way? Were you disappointed?
No. Not at all.
Yeah, I didn't think it was disappointing. I didn't go into it expecting to find anything haunted. Even though we knew it was supposed to be haunted and creepy, I didn't go into expecting to find anything like that. I just went into it looking for, like, just the sight of the tunnel.
Yeah, I just went to see the tunnel and the history, like, to actually see this old tunnel.
I mean, I guess I was a little disappointed when we got to the other side, and we hiked and hiked and hiked, and there was nothing there. That might have been the only disappointing thing, like, there's no remnants of houses here, so... There was something when we got down a ways, up on the hill on the left, but I don't remember what it is that Katie and I were going to go look at.
That's where, I believe up on the left is, the hillside is where the town probably was at one time. I could be wrong, but...
We were trying to go up there, but for some reason we didn't go all the way up, and we just, like, bailed and came back down. I don't remember why. And I don't remember what it was we were looking at up there. I don't have a video of that.
I'm sure that Raccoon Creek, it's the creek that runs right kind of in front of Moonville on the one side that they have a bridge over that you have to walk across to get to the tunnel. I'm pretty sure that probably floods at certain times because on the map it does say that when water's high that the road we took to get to Moonville will flood. So I'm assuming that if that would flood and it comes around, that those two areas on either side of the tracks would probably flood or...
Well, I don't know what that body of water is. When you went down so far, you came to where there may have been a bridge at one time across the water, but the bridge is gone now and there's just like the pillars. So I don't know if that's that creek or not.
I didn't go that far down.
We went to that and then we're like, okay, we're not going anywhere else.
No, they were way ahead of me and my friend that were walking. They were way ahead of us.
Sorry.
And I wasn't about to. I didn't feel up to hiking that day, I guess, that far.
Yeah, that was a good hike all the way to the end. I mean, it's nice and pretty because you got... I mean, in the summertime it would be even prettier to walk because then the trees would be, you know, leaves and stuff like that. But we went in when the trees were all dead and it was all brown and there was no color.
Usually I'm up for the hike, but not that time.
Okay. Would you go back to Moonville?
Yes.
Obviously.
I do want to go back to Moonville.
Obviously we want to find that cemetery.
Because if I'm going to find a cemetery, I'm going to have to stop one more time and go through the tunnel one more time.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the person I am.
And you want to find a ghost because you're obsessed with ghosts.
I don't necessarily want to find a ghost. I have a tendency to accidentally find them in my pictures or on my videos.
You're obsessed with ghosts. You always find them. They're always in your pictures and your videos. You're looking for them.
Yes, but I'm not the one running from them.
I didn't run from a ghost. I ain't seen a ghost to run from.
No, but you heard something and you and Philip were the first one out of the building last time.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
That's a totally different place. That's completely different.
And I'm the one who was charging on.
Let's focus on Moonville, okay?
No, I don't care if I see a ghost there.
Quit trying to act like you're brave because this past weekend you wouldn't even go into the hospital. You drove around it like 6 times like a chicken.
That's true.
Parking in the middle of the driveways, making us look suspicious. And then you decide, oh yeah, let's go in now.
Hey.
Sorry.
I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble.
Okay. Anyways, back to Moonville. Enough about our other little rants. Okay. So, since this place is somewhere that is legal to go to, not trespassing. Would you recommend people go to Moonville?
Yeah, I think it'd be a good place to explore and look at, check out.
Yeah, it's a beautiful location.
I mean, you can go to, on the way there, I mean, there's the Hope Furnace. You can stop and see the Hope Furnace. You gotta pass that. And, I mean, like, there's, that's history as well. But, I mean, like, even that, like, there's obviously a lake there that's on that road that Hope Furnace is on that you can, like, if you're an avid boater who fishes, fisherman, go there and fish, I mean, like, there's anything you can do there while you go to Moonville. I mean, like, you just don't gotta go to Moonville to see Moonville. Camp at the state park and hike over or drive over, but...
Yeah. There are nice trails at the Lake Hope State Park by the Furnace, because I hiked some of those. But it is really beautiful there at the park. When you park, and then you gotta cross this bridge that goes across water, and there's all kinds of locks on the bridge. And then you walk a little ways, and then you get to the tunnel. So, I mean, it really is a pretty area. So I would say it's definitely worth going.
It's pretty in the... we went in February, March, so there's not a whole lot of green. Yeah. It's very pretty then, so it's got to be even prettier now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'd be really pretty in the fall, too, and the leaves are brightly colored and falling. That would be good, too.
Overall, though, I think Moonville, just like the history of it is pretty cool. And the site of the tunnel itself being so massive and with the word Moonville at the top of it, I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think it's very impressive to me.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about Mothman, right?
No.
Dang it! Okay.
Next, we're going to talk about Haydenville Tunnel a little bit.
Or lack thereof, as I like to say.
So, I don't know exactly what year the Haydenville Tunnel was established, per se, but I know that it was over 100 years old, and I know that it was abandoned in 1957. It was constructed to allow coal to be mined and a few miles away to be transported to the large brick factory in town. So Haydenville had a brick factory and a furnace, and they had this tunnel, and they would dig out in the hills this clay, which made the brick. And that's the cool thing. Even if you don't see the tunnel, because obviously you'll find out why, but this whole town was made because of this brick company. And each house is designed, there's so many houses that are identical looking, and there are different sections where they're identical looking. There's even a roundhouse, but it's all made out of the brick from the clay that was taken out of the mountain, like out of the hill. Like, it was, all these houses were made with that brick from the Haydenville brick factory, which I feel is really super cool. It's very unique to go there. The main street it's very unique town.
It's a very small town, too.
Yeah, the brick factory doesn't exist. I haven't seen, I believe that the Haydenville furnace is no longer there. I didn't see any evidence of it. If it is, I don't know where it would be in town. So when it was made, the tunnel, there was 120 yards made with brick tiles, and it has an arched ceiling. So the arched ceiling is kind of like the Moonville Tunnel. It's curved. And after the brick tiles, then they only went like 120 yards in, and then they only went up like halfway with the brick, and then the rest of it became like natural rock formation with it's like wood planks. Like, it's squared. Like, the rest of the way is squared. So, like, 120 yards in, it's a rounded tunnel. When you get past 120 yards, for about 30 yards, it's a square ceiling. So, I don't know what made them change their plans.
I don't know what made them think digging a tunnel in the mountainside and putting wood was a good idea either. because you got all that dirt on top of it. Why wouldn't you go with the brick? That would be more sturdy and last longer.
I would think so.
But what do I know?
And then
they had plenty of brick.
So there was like 150 yards of tunnel that I could find out, and after that it started collapsing. But I was under the impression from things that I read on the internet about the history of the Moonville Tunnel or the Haydenville Tunnel that it did go all the way through the mountain. But then I also read something that said it did not go all the way through the mountain. I read that the other end was collapsed, but then I read that it started collapsing so that it was just like they quit mining it or quit digging the tunnel. So I'm not quite sure exactly what it is, and maybe it did go all the way through, and then that bottom part, that back part, was the wood and the brick, and it just collapsed. But it is no longer there, and to get to it...
Well, it is there, technically.
It's there, technically. To get to it, you have to go through town. You start to go out the road, and then you got to make this, like, quick turn up this gravel road that takes you to a cemetery, and there are 2 cemeteries in town, or just outside of town. But you go up this hill, there's a gravel road, and you park outside the cemetery. You got to go to the cemetery, walk to the back of the cemetery, which is a very old cemetery, and there's a ravine behind it, and that's where the tunnel is, in the ravine behind the cemetery.
You have to go down the hill, and then you have to go down into like a ditch to get to where the entrance of the tunnel is.
And because of it collapsing and falling in, and they didn't want vagrants to get in there and
apparently that was
injured.
the thing. They had vagrants going in there. They didn't want them to get trapped in there.
So they just, basically, it kind of looks like these concrete, almost like K-rails.
Yeah.
They're stuffed in there. There's enough room. Well, when it first did it, they said they had those orange bat things so that bats could go in there and live. You know, it was accessible to the natural habitat for the bats. And then they pushed all these bricks in there and kind of these big K-rail type things, and then they still left this big hole. I mean, you can stick your camera up there and take pictures, because that's what we did. Or she did. I wasn't getting down that gully very far.
It's a nice climb down.
But the bats can still get in there, and they still have a habitat in there.
Now, honestly, somebody small could shimmy through. There's like one opening on the left-hand side at the top of the tunnel. So if you could climb on top of the K-rails, you could shimmy your way, who knows how far, but you could shimmy your way back.
It's a possibility.
But I wouldn't want to shimmy there.
You don't even know you don't even know what's in there.
Yeah, I know. But somebody could. They'd be crazy to try it.
Now, this tunnel is also said to be haunted by some of the workers, because the mine the tunnel collapsed on them, it said. And also possibly there was a little girl that haunted it, because there's somebody who caught a little girl's voice that said, "No, not that tunnel," on a video. I did not see that video, but that's what I read online on my research. But being as how it's in that cemetery up on that hill, and it's very old graves, and there's these things in the cemetery, and I don't know what they are. It looks like foundations. And obviously they dug, I was thinking maybe kind of like a mine shaft, or like an oxygen thing, like for the tunnel. Like, that maybe because they're all covered up with concrete bricks.
But there's some of them are so far away from even where the tunnel is. Because there were some way by the entrance almost. Like, they had several of them. There was a good 5 or 6 different squares where there were brick structures, looked like at some point.
I don't know.
Remnants of something brick.
Yeah, I don't know if those were remnants of crypts.
Well,
or if they were actually remnants of
there were a couple of things
areas
that looked like they were covered over with slabs that she was talking about. And then there's 3 or 4 of them that were look like they may have been structures at one time. So possibly that's where that Hayden furnace is. If there was a Hayden furnace, that might be where it is. Haydenville. Yeah. That might have been where the furnace was.
Oh, that could be.
You never know.
Since we don't know exactly where that was.
But, like, the cool thing about this one is so they didn't climb down, Bonnie and Philip were with me, and they didn't climb, they went down the hill, and then they stopped, there's like a little ledge, and then you have to go down farther to get to the entrance, and they didn't go down farther, but the whole sides of that, taller than me, probably like 6 foot tall, was just like stacks of bricks. Not even in the tunnel before you get to the tunnel. Outside of the tunnel entrance, it was just like stacks of bricks along that little ravine type deal thing leading to the tunnel.
And we went to the graveyard because they said it was at the back of the graveyard, and we're walking around and all we see are woods. And we're like, where is it? And we're just like, we almost turned around and left.
It was getting dark, too.
And then I saw this, it looked like graffiti, which I now know it is graffiti, but it looked like this colored stuff. So I just left them and I started trekking away, like going down the hill, and they're like, what's she doing? And they followed me, and I'm like, I think I found it. Sure enough, I found it.
I was looking across, where you were looking down, I was looking straight across the other side. And I thought I saw something over there. Obviously I did, trees, but whatever.
It's not the easiest thing to find.
It's not easily accessible to get to it and to find it.
And we definitely went, not in the fall, we went more in the spring.
It was the summer, because
early summer,
because it was just that month, a couple months ago when I did those photos.
I know there was a lot of mosquitoes and bugs.
And a turtle in the graveyard.
Oh yeah, there was a turtle in the graveyard.
I almost stepped on him.
But yeah, it's not there. I mean, it's not really worth. I mean, if you want to go and take pictures of it, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's not really worth it.
It's going to take climbing to get down to.
It is going to take climbing. If you can find it, it's really hard to find because there's no
sign.
There's no sign like at Moonville that says, tunnel or nothing. Like, it's not on the map. Like, it's easy to find.
Yeah.
You just kind of gotta wander your way around.
Yeah.
And you don't know if that gravel driveway that I turned up is somebody's driveway, actually. I don't even know if there was a sign for cemetery there, but we just turned up it and got lucky.
I think there may have been a sign for the cemetery.
It's definitely a one-lane road going up to the cemetery.
Yeah. This one, to me, was disappointing.
I was kind of disappointed because it was gone. I kind of had a feeling that it might be from all the stuff I read on the internet, but until you go, you don't really know.
After all that effort of driving, well, I mean, we were doing a road trip and I was taking pictures of properties for this one thing to get paid for, and we decided to look for it while we were in that area, and like, it was a little disappointing because we drove all over the state that day, and like, that was like our big thing we were looking for, and then we get there and like, you can't even go in it. Even hard. I mean, you can see it sort of if you climb down in, but they didn't get to climb down in and see it.
If I would have got down in that ravine like you did, I wouldn't have got back out.
There may have been a way to get out if you would have walked away from the tunnel and then came way out around, probably like a good half a mile out of your way. You may have been able to climb up a hillside and get back into the graveyard that way, but you would have had to maybe bushwhack there.
And our brother for sure wasn't going to, because that was before he had his hip replacement. He wasn't getting in it.
Yeah. It was interesting to find it, and it's interesting to learn about the bricks and stuff that made the tunnel and what they used the tunnel for in Haydenville.
They say that cemetery is abandoned as well, but I saw like one or two newer graves, but most of them are very old. They're very broken.
Yeah.
We like to go to cemeteries to pay respects to. We like to see little cemeteries, and this was a little one.
Yeah, this was my kind of cemetery.
It's kind of forgotten, lost.
So would you go back to Haydenville?
I would probably go back again, yeah.
I don't think I would.
I mean, not necessarily to go to the tunnel itself, but to go look, because I know there's other stuff around Haydenville. I mean, we already know there's a lock around, we know there's a lock down the road from Haydenville. I mean, who knows what's in the woods around there?
Yeah.
Like, as many things that's in that Wayne National Forest area, like, who knows what's 10 miles down the road?
True. Yeah, but I don't want to specifically go back for Haydenville.
No, I wouldn't specifically go back to Haydenville. And I probably wouldn't encourage anybody to go there either, except maybe to see the cute, quaint little town.
That little roundhouse was probably better than seeing the tunnel. The little brick roundhouse.
And you can see that on the internet even. There's pictures of it on the internet that I didn't take, but other people have. I saw it.
It's a cute little town though. The houses are cute. I don't think there's anything there but houses in the graveyard town. If there was a gas station or anything, I mean, it's not there now. So of the two tunnels, Haydenville and Moonville, which one's the best?
I like Moonville the best.
Yeah, hands down.
It's definitely more impressive.
Yeah, this one wasn't even as impressive as Moonville because it didn't even say Haydenville at the top of it, did it?
No, I don't think so. But the thing is, it's not even. It wasn't even like a tunnel built for the railroad itself.
Oh, yeah.
I don't believe.
Yeah, this one doesn't even say Moonville on the top of it.
Or Haydenville.
Haydenville. It doesn't even say Haydenville at the top of it. I pulled up my picture to look. It's literally just a tunnel. Nothing exciting about it. I mean, the bricks that it's used to make it look cool. Because from what you can see of the picture on the left-hand side where I said you could maybe shimmy back there, you can see the bricks that was used to make the tunnel part. So, I mean, that's really cool. But with all the stupid K-rail type things there, that's all you can see is just that little section of it, which is really disappointing.
I think it would have been funny if when I stuck your camera up there, if there would have been something peeking back at you.
Something that grabbed my camera?
Like a raccoon or something.
I don't think anything.
A possum or a coon.
I didn't. Yeah, that wasn't scary.
No, it wasn't scary, but I just thought it would have been cool if someone would peek back at you.
The only thing I was worried about was, so when I climbed down, I had my camera, Bonnie gave me her camera, Philip gave me his camera, so I had all of these cameras while I'm trying to climb down, and my thing was like, crap, because it was not an easy, it was like I said, it was like 6-foot walls. The walls were like 6 feet when you get down in there. So I'm like trying to get out without breaking everybody's cameras. That was some work, let me tell you.
I wasn't getting any closer to the edge to get my camera back. I might have fallen in.
Yeah, they didn't even they didn't even try to get their camera to like help me out. No, I did hand one up, didn't I? I handed one up. I think I handed yours up to you. No, I left yours hanging around my neck and I handed Philip's up.
You might have handed his up after I left.
And then I don't think I had pockets or anything, so I was like, I sat my camera so I could climb up. And there really is no good way to climb up once you get down there. There is some craziness. The things I do to get pictures, I tell you.
The things you do as an urbexer.
See, they tend to send me in places to check it out first. That way, if I get injured, they're like, oh, okay, we don't need to go that way. Let's go a different way.
See, now
I'm like the guinea pig.
She is the guinea pig, but you know what? She is the faster, skinnier runner. Like, neither of us are going to be able to run fast enough.
Listen, the truth
we have to get out.
The truth is, you guys are okay with sacrificing me. If it would come to that, you guys would sacrifice me and be like, well, dang, sorry about her luck, and you guys would walk away. As long as you had the keys, you'd be good.
You're not the one that I tried to poison as a baby with perfume in the baby food. So I think at this point you're good. consider that I'm not part of your, your money when you croak. That's your son. I don't get anything.
Alright. Do you have anything else to say about Moonville or Haydenville?
No, not really. Except go. I mean, at least go to Moonville.
Yeah.
Take a trip to Moonville.
Or you can watch our video. Well, no, my video on Moonville isn't out yet. I didn't post my video of Moonville. Did you post your... I did a video at Moonville.
I do not know if I posted my Moonville tunnel yet.
I did a video at Haydenville in the cemetery. But I know my Moonville tunnel is not on YouTube yet.
I may have. Give me 1 second. I believe I remember my friend Martina asking me a question about it.
Oh yeah, because you were talking about some guys in your video. Wasn't that the one?
Yes, that's the one. Okay. So yes, it is on.
So Bonnie's Moonville tunnel video is on YouTube.
I have a little small video of the Haydenville tunnel that I can put on. Probably next week, because I already got Tuesdays set. So I have one from the cemetery that I can put on from the Haydenville.
I don't have any set to go on this weekend yet, because I haven't done it. I was going to do the meat processing plant, but I can do Moonville and Haydenville this weekend, one Friday and one Saturday. So mine will be Friday and Saturday. I will put them on Friday and Saturday, and you're going to put yours on when?
I can go for Saturday.
Okay. So, if you want to save a trip to your own to Moonville or Haydenville, you can live vicariously through us and watch our videos. And there are other urbexers who have gone to Haydenville or Moonville. I don't know if there's any videos on Haydenville.
If you look for mine, it may come up as Moonville, but I have it put down here as tunnel number 1.
The best thing to do is subscribe, so you'll get notified when our videos come out. Just saying.
That is the best way.
Kind of a shameless plug there, but whatever. Anyways. Okay, so
we're shameless.
That'll be the end of this episode, I believe. Next week we're going to talk about the Mothman. Right?
No, well, I don't know. That's to be determined yet. We have not decided. Since we are going back to Mothman this weekend.
Hopefully next weekend we'll talk about the Mothman, because that's my favorite subject. Obviously. Nobody could tell that, I'm sure.
No, nobody can tell. It's not obvious. Not obvious at all.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to, why do I always stumble through this? Like, subscribe, share, and follow our podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channels, Exploring with Bonnie and Naomi's Adventures.
We also have Instagram accounts for our YouTubes.
I will put those in the notes about the show, about the podcast notes.
Where we share pictures of all of our travels.
Yeah, so check that out and follow us on Instagram. Especially me, don't follow her because she's got too many followers. I need the followers, so follow me. Forget about her Instagram.
That's whatever you want to do. If you want to follow her instead of me, I won't be offended.
Just kidding. She's probably the better photographer than I am, since she's got her fancy camera.
I'm a novice. An amateur. I don't know what I'm doing.
Look, a disclaimer here. We're both new at all of this stuff. The podcasting thing, the photography thing, and the video thing. So if we suck, we're sorry. We are trying to get better. We're trying to learn as we go. So please be patient with us, because we're trying to learn. We have no experience with this stuff at all. But we're trying.
That's true. We are definitely trying.
Anyways, thanks for listening to this episode. We'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you later.